Hello everyone! Today we're going to take a look at how good is the Superconduct team with sub DPS Rosaria. Let's not waste any time and get started. As always, these are the things that you want to know for this video. 1. I am using a C0 Razor with Serpent Spine as the main DPS level 80 ascendant with level 8 talents with max stacks on Serpent Spine with a 4-piece crit attack Gladiator set. We're only going to be looking at his auto attacks, specifically his 3 auto attack combo as referenced on Razor mains. 2. I'm going in with the assumption that you have Razor, Rosaria, a Hydra unit, and a Cryo unit, so maybe someone like Xingqiu or Diona as your other team members of the team. 3. Rosaria will be 80 plus ascended with a level 8 talents and have a black cliff pole with a crit damage Blizzard Strayer set. For those of you who are wondering why I don't focus on the crit rate, I'll do a quick summary of it later on in the video, but for a more in-depth explanation, refer back to this one. 4. Rosaria will be a sub DPS, so how I'm assuming she is going to be used in this video is that you switch her in, use her elemental skill, and then use her burst, and then switch out. Averages have crit rate and crit damage included. Burst only includes the initial hit when you summon the burst, and total averages total damage including the initial hits with the 4 DOT. 5. I do not have Rosaria. Instead, some people from Discord have helped me to obtain the base stats of their level 80 Ascendant Rosaria, and I got her talent data from the demo Rosaria. With that all said, let's get started with the video. Now to summarize why I use Rosaria with a black cliff pole with a crit damage focused Blizzard Strayer set, this is because if you utilize its ability along with Cryo Resonance, 2 Cryo units in your team, you can easily raise your crit rate of your attacks from 5% to 60%. In my other video, I stopped at 60%, however Rosaria has another ability called Regina Probationum, where if she strikes an opponent from behind her, crit rate increases by 12%. Do note that this has to be from behind or else the buff will not be applied. Hence, your average DPS for your Rosaria will jump from this to this, which as you can see is a dramatic boost in damage. This one does not include Regina Probationum, but if we were to include it in, it would look like this, which makes her a strong sub DPS for your party. Now, something to note for her other passive, which is Shadow Samaritan, which is that her party members' crit rate are increased by 15% of Rosaria's crit rate. To clarify, this is 15% of Rosaria's current crit rate, which is exactly this. You might be confused, where did the other 55% go? And you might have made the link that the same number originates from the Blizzard Strayer set and Shattering Ice Resonance. How the ability of Blizzard Strayer set works is that your character does not have an increased crit rate, but rather your attack has an increased crit rate. We can see this from the footage of Ganyu that when she applies cryo to a unit and hits that same unit, my crit rate is static, meaning it didn't change. If we also apply the frozen status as well, my crit rate is still the same as before. This is also true for Shattering Ice Resonance, as this only increases your attack's crit rate when you attack enemies inflicted by cryo. Hence, when Shadow Samaritan is being used, it only takes into account the number you see on your character's status screen, which would be this, which is the character's initial crit rate and Regina Probationum. What this means is that your main DPS Razor's damage would increase around this amount. If it did include every other crit rate buff, then your overall DPS would increase by this amount. So don't worry too much about utilizing Shadow Samaritan. Think of it as an extra topping for your ice cream. However, if you have Razor out, most likely you have used Rosaria's burst and is still active, meaning you can use either your burst or your skill to apply Superconduct, which will then increase your overall damage from this to this. Do note that we are using a Hilichurl, which means we will be getting negative resistances, which actually gives less of a buff in comparison to if the debuff was applied to a Golem, let's say. But regardless, the damage boost is significant to about a 3100 damage boost in one auto attack cycle. If you all remember Rosaria's constellations, her C6 further debuffs the opponent in front, which will give you an extra 1200 DPS in one auto attack cycle. Hence, your Razor will be buffed from his initial state to this, and if you have a C6 Rosaria, it would look like this. Rosaria is definitely someone who can be utilized in multiple teams, so I'm going to be looking into more possible teams she would be a great sub DPS role in. I hope this video was helpful for all of you. Leave a like if it did, and I will see you all in the next one.